Right, time to review Bonhams' Paris auction from last week. 8.5 million euros worth of cars sold. 66 lots went under the hammer. Let's pick out some highlights and what you need to know. Lot 102 was this Maserati Kyalami. 50 to 70,000 on this. Sold just under its lower estimate, 48,000 euros. Bang average price. You'll see there's a theme through this Bonhams auction. The estimates were on the high end. The sell prices, although a lot of them missed those estimates, they actually weren't too disrespectful at all. They're about bang on average what we've seen recent examples sell for. Similar story here with this Austin Healey 3000 Mark II. Missed estimate, sold for 46,000, just above average price on this. Lot 104 was a rather nice BJ42 Land Cruiser, estimated at 45 to 55,000 on this. Ended up selling for 36,800. This has been restored back in 2017 and had a fair amount spent on it. But that price, although it's below its lower estimate, is no disgrace whatsoever. One of the highest prices we've seen in recent years, and only a few thousand off the world record back in 2016. Lot 105 is a 365 GTC/4, 100 to 150 on this, sold for 124,000 euros. Lot 106 is this 220 Cabriolet B. W187 model. They only made 997 of these. Again, missed its lower estimate. This time, though, it was a fair way below the market value. This car wasn't in the best of condition, but median prices on these are closer to 100,000 euros. Lot 107 was a absolutely delightful 750 Vignale Spider, estimated at 13 to 17,000, sold 11,500. That's towards the lower end of what we would typically expect these kind of cars to sell for. Lot 108 is a C2 Stingray split window, estimated at 100 to 140,000. It's sold towards the top end of that estimate and is about average compared to previous examples that we've seen sell. The W111 cab didn't find a new home at 130 to 150,000. The Citroen SM did this manual example at 40 to 60,000. Again, missed its estimate, sold for 32,000, but about average compared to recent sales that we have seen. Lot 111 was this 3.8 litre Mark II, 40 to 60,000 on this. Again, missed its estimate entirely at 34,500. Matching numbers, left-hand drive car, originally delivered to France, still delivered a top 30% price despite the estimate being missed. Lot 112 was this TR3A, comes with the hardtop. 20 to 30 was the estimate on this, sold bang in the middle for a just above average price of 25,000. The Lagonda here, lot 114, 30 to 40 on this, sold at 32,000 euros, slightly below what we would have expected on this car. Median price sits around 50,000 for one of these. Fossil Vegas get an awful lot of love whenever they appear online, and there was some love in the room, but not quite enough to get it to reach its lower estimate. 150 to 200 was the estimate, sold at 143,000 euros, just below average price on that. Lot 116 was this Aston Martin DB6 Vantage, recently recommissioned. They'd spent 30,000 plus on this in recent years, just crept in to its lower estimate at 193,000 euros. These are softening, and this is a slightly softer price than we would have seen in recent years. Bottom 30% price on that. Lot 117. This is a car I really would not want to own if I was worried about the numbers on it. Ford GT second generation Carbon Series, estimated at 580 to 700,000 euros. That estimate was very soft to start with. This car ended up selling for 598,000 euros. It's only got 23 kilometers on the car. If we come down here and have a look at this price trend, it is only heading south on the exact trend. Pretty much holds for all of those second gen Ford GTs. They're going to keep going down. Who wants an EcoBoost engine in their supercar? Lot 118 is this Bugatti 220 to 280 on this super original example. It was the 18th of its kind to leave Molsheim, sold for 218,000 euros, about average price on that car. Lot 119 was this W188 300S, lovely, restored in 2020, matching engine, blue over beige, just missed its lower estimate, 325 to 375, sold for just under 300,000 on that example. Julieta SZ, 250 to 300,000, didn't find a home. What did find a home very happily was this Landy. 15 to 20 sold for 31,000 euros. Lot 122 was a similar story. Overperformance here, 10 to 15,000, ended up going for 25,000 euros. That Jowett Jupiter. Lot 123 was a Citroen 11 BL. 5 to 10,000 on this car was the estimate. It needed some love. Despite that, it sold for almost 15,000 euros. You could buy a running one for that kind of shape. Very good result there for the vendor. Lot 124 was this 1941 BMW 335 cab. Very rare car, 66,000 here on this example. It is a weak price versus prior examples that we have seen sell. Lot 125 is this Voisin C30. I'll be honest, I don't know much about these. There was only 5 of them ever made. Sold for 132,000 euros on that car. Lot 126 was one of the performers of the whole auction, estimated at 250 to 350. This Delage D8 120 cab sold for 460,000 euros. The car needed recommissioning. Yes, we have seen examples sell for more money, but a very, very good result for the vendor. A less positive result was this Lot 127, this Mercedes 500k W29, estimated at 1.5 to 2.5 million. Sold for just 860,000 euros. It's amazing the disparity there between that Lot 126 and Lot 127. The different fortunes of those two cars that share a lot of similarities. One has nearly doubled its lower estimate. One has barely halved its lower estimate. And talking of cars that double their estimate, here is one that has not only doubled it, but tripled it, if my maths is pretty much correct. On that sum's top estimate here was 90,000 for this 190 SL. Super original car. It even had a bottle of the original touch-up paint in the boot for this car is still present. It absolutely smashed that top estimate. 276,000 euros this car sold for. Not a world record price. It is a European record. We've never seen a 190 SL sell for more money in Europe. Incredible results. Lot 129 was another belter, frankly. 25 to 45,000 on this XK 140 in need of recommissioning. Sold for 73,000 euros. You can get a running one for less money than that. Absolutely bonkers. Top 20% price on that car. Lot 130 is a Citroen C4 Kegrasy Auto Chenille. I've never heard of one either. 20 to 40 on this, sold at 35,000 euros. Lot 131 is this Willis station wagon, or Willis, depends how risky you want to be. 10 to 15 on that, just sold under its lower estimate at £9,700. Lot 132, this Rolls 40-50 horsepower Silver Ghost, estimated at 170 to 200,000. Missed its lower estimate by a fair way, 115,000 euros on that. It's a weak price. Most of these, dependent on spec and history, are starting with a 2, 3 or a 4. To see that sell there is surprising. Alpha 6C, 2,500 here. Beautiful car. Alfa Romeos just seemed to struggle broadly across the auctions. Whether it was RM, whether it was Bonhams, whether it was Gooding, whether it was Arcurial, they all seem to be pretty weak, which isn't good news for me because I've got one myself. 400 to 450, no home found on this car. Lot 134, this 308 competition, sold for 109,000 euros. Lot 135, this 300S, didn't find a home at 250 to 300. A fairly good value going here. Lot 136 was estimated at 1.2 to 1.5 million euros. It sold for just under 1.3 million here. Matching numbers example retains original chassis, body and engine. Restored in the late 90s and maintained well since. Beautiful car for very good money on that. Lot 137 is this Ghibli SS Coupe, 140 to 180 on that, sold just below its low estimate at 138,000 euros. Lot 138 was this DS21 by Henri Chipron, 125 to 150 on this. Didn't find a home. It was one of only 27 to have ever been built. A rare find to come and see this at auction. Lot 139 was this 356B cab, 125 to 150,000 on this. Didn't find a home. Had a colour change earlier in its life. Lot 140 was this Aston Martin DB4 Series 5, 350 to 450 on this. Sold for €379,000. Highly original car, original colour combination, matching numbers as well. Beautiful thing, refurbished around 10 years ago as well. This G63 sold for €126,000. Not one for me. 1981, this BMW M1 Coupe, 450 to 500,000 on this car. One of 450 ever built. Most of these will see between sort of 350 to over 500. Surprisingly, this didn't go, but it is high on the mileage side of things at 87,000 miles. Lot 143 was this cracking little Alfa Romeo F12 bus, 60 to 70 on this. I'm not surprised it pulled on someone's heartstrings. €80,000. Yes, it's a lot of money for a bus. Equally, I think people want cool things, particularly in a social media era, something that is non-standard, good fun, take your friends to the pub, get a load of likes on social media, rightly or wrongly, that is appealing to people. And this car did just that. This E-Type Series 3, 70 to 90 on this, almost made its lower estimate. Average price on this sold for €69,000. Not sold on lot 145. This 964 3.6 turbo, you want the 3.6 rather than the 3.3, and the prices reflect that. 400 to 450 Bonhams were after here. It's sold at €385,000. Good solid price on this, above the price that we see most of the examples sell at. Lot 147 was this Testarossa, 23,000 miles on the clock. Again, just below its lower estimate at 143,000. Despite that, still a good result. Top 30% price on this. Another flat nose that didn't sell at the Paris auctions here for lot 148. Lot 149 didn't sell, the F12 TR, 180 to 200 on that. This 1966 330 GT 2+2, 172,000. I think that's quite a good result in a tricky market to sell those kind of cars. Just below average price on that car. Highly original, unrestored example there. Original 911 here, 125 to 150,000 on this car. Matching numbers example, single family ownership from new, sold at 122,000. About average on what we would expect for a car like this. Another low owner car, Spiker C8 here, 350 to 400,000. Estimate was punchy to start with, sold at 250,000. About average price of what we're seeing for one of these. Lot 153 was this 575M Maranello, 100 to 120 on this. No buyers in the room willing to spend that amount, goes unsold. Lot 154 is the classic story of Bentley depreciation, frankly. 100 to 150,000 for this Conti R Millennium Edition. It was the most expensive car in the world, production car in the world, when it was launched in the late 90s, 2000s. They were selling new as the base price, about $400,000. Adjusting for inflation, converting back to euros, that's about 600,000 euros today. This car just sold for 82,000, about 15%, less than 15% of its original asking price. Still a very cool thing, nonetheless. Lot 156 didn't find a home at 200 to 250,000, nor did the 930 Coupe, 100 to 140 on that. No takers. Lot 157 was the 356A, comes with the hardtop, which not many do. 220 to 250, sold at 201,000 on that. Chrysler Thomas Special, I've never seen one of these transact before. Tricky thing to price, 330 to 390 Bonhams were after. Didn't sell. This Rolls-Royce 20, lot 159, sold at 40,000 euros. Bentley 3.5 litre, 50 to 60,000. Lots of Bentley struggled, or lots of pre-war Bentley struggled, shall we say, across the auctions. This actually delivered in its estimate, but still low relative to recent prices that we have seen for the model. Sold at 57,000 euros, bottom 30% price on that. Rolls-Royce Silver Wraith actually smashed its estimate, 30 to 40, sold at 89,000 euros. Rolls Phantom 2, similar story to the Bentley 3.5 litre up above, sold at 77,000 euros. Lot 163 is this Alfa 2000 Spider, 100 to 120,000 euros. Bonhams were after. Why were they after that much? Well, because the car had been heavily restored. It sold for 90,000 euros. That's about bang on the money of what an average running order car would be. This car's been heavily restored. That is a great buy at a great price. Lancia B20 GT, 100 to 140,000. No takers on that UK delivered example. W25K Roadster, 100 to 150,000. Absolutely smashed it here. One of only 258 produced. 253,000 euros. To top it off, not only did it more than double its estimate, it also needs a whole load of recommissioning. Engine needs to be rebuilt. Several parts are missing as well. Bonkers. Lot 166 was just 300 SEL in absolutely stunning condition. 40 to 50,000 was the estimate. Smashes it at 75,000 euros. Average values on these is around 30, 40,000. That car did really, really well. Top 10% price on that. This DS19 Decapotable, 130 to 170 on this. 92,000 euros sold. Again, on shipper on. Most of these are 100 to 170. Seeing this sell at 92 is a very, very cheap car. And finally, closing off the motor cars of this sale, lot 168, this Viper RT10, 65 to 85, just snuck over its lower estimate at 67,850. So there we have it. Bonhams auctions 66 cars, 8.5 million euros worth of vehicles sold. And again, a strong sell-through rate, 77% of cars sold in this auction. Another good indicator for 2026 being a far stronger year. Right, let's go and record another video about Paris. Peace.